Daddy, can you come pick me up from school? I'm scared. Hi, Ugly. It's me, Bussy, and welcome back to Hot or Rat. And today we'll be reviewing episode 4 of RuPaul's Drag Race UK versus the world. Our international superstars were challenged to play Snatch game, Family Feud style, where they were split into two teams, one with Carey and the other with Michele Visage. And the runway category was Luck Be a Lady. And girl, we've got a lot of shady shenanigans to go over today. And then we'll be ranking each queen's performance in the episode from rottest rat to hottest hot, based on a total possible 10 flames, 5 for the runway and 5 for the main challenge. But first, today's video and shower scene is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Here's the tea. The Manscaped Ultra Premium Collection just dropped. It's an all-in-one skin and hair care kit designed to save you time and money with a 5-step hygiene routine. Check it out. First, I hit my hair with the Manscaped's 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's sudsy, clean, and hydrating. Next, I wash away my sins with the Manscaped body wash made with aloe vera and sea salt. Then I blast my bod with the Manscaped hydrating body spray. That's right, a spray-on moisturizer for an even application to even those hard to reach areas. Then, don't forget the pits. Manscaped's aluminum-free deodorant is made with a clear formula that won't leave marks on your clothes. And finally, this collection comes with a free gift, lip balm. 3 of them, actually. Vitamin E, peppermint, and eucalyptus oils seal in the moisture to keep your lips kissable. And best of all, the entire collection is paraben-free, cruelty-free, and vegan. And it's your lucky day because when you visit manscaped.com and use code BUSSY, you'll get 20% off your order plus free international shipping. And make sure to opt in for the Manscaped peak hygiene routine so you never run out of your favorite Manscaped products. Thanks Manscaped for keeping this Bussy queen clean and squeaky. Now let's jump right into it. This episode begins with Pangina reiterating the narrative that she eliminated Jimbo because Juju gave more in the Rusical, which was technically true. But of course, if I were sitting there in the workroom with Miss Pangina, I might be calling a little bit of shade and pointing out that Juju had been in the bottom 2 weeks in a row and the easy out was right there. Of course, the gag here is we learned that Janey, who was also in the top last week, pulled Jujubee's lipstick, not Jimbo's. And while I do think that was the lipstick the entire world probably would have pulled, maybe. I have to admit it was slightly surprising coming from Janey, considering Jimbo had actually pulled Janey's lipstick the very first week. And because of that, maybe Pangina had been secretly thinking that Janey too would also be pulling Jimbo's lipstick, which would have justified her choice in the eyes of the other queens just a tad more, I think. But moving on, we see the episode set up very plainly, with Baga telling us in confessionals that it's time for Jimbo's revenge. Now let's shake the dice and steal the rice. Side note, did y'all know that Santina Rice's Twitter got deactivated because of all of his continued crazy conspiracy theories? My rottest rat tonight goes to Jujubee. Let's talk about her runway first. So I will say I have been a little generous in her recent runway rankings, giving her 1 out of 5 hot flames because she was meeting the brief and I don't know, maybe she was just having some bad luck. However, I've decided I've lost all patience and hope today, and I'm done with the shenanigans. This look gets 0 out of 5 hot flames. But let's talk about why. She hits the runway wrapped in some gold fabric, and we and the judges alike have no idea what in gay hell's going on here. It's not until we get her little confessional voiceover that we learn she's supposed to be dressed as a quote solar-powered lucky kitty, which to her credit is a good idea for the category. A great idea even. But she continues, even with a good idea, to demonstrate that she gives 0 about being in this competition. Like, I don't even think this is bare minimum. Where's the fun, the inspiration, the camp, anything about it that would possibly say international superstar or I wanna be here? It would have been so easy for her to finish this look with some simple details like whiskers on the face, gold makeup, a cat collar with a bell. Hell, she could have painted her face gold like Baga did on the first runway, or maybe even been carrying some of those little lucky cat coins. And it really wouldn't have killed her to get the dress tailored or worn a hair that made sense for this look either. I just don't know what is going on with our dear beloved Jujubee. Dear old Juju, please call back. I miss you. If this look is lucky, I'd rather not be. It's a rat. But enough about her pussycat look, let's talk about her Snatch game. In the workroom, we find out Juju is doing Cher, a RuPaul favorite. And we also continue to see that Juju is a RuPaul favorite. She could open her mouth and just let the hot air flow out and RuPaul would scream in laughter. But do I think Juju could have come up with something a little more creative? Yes. Her Fran Drescher on All Stars 1 was a lot of fun, and her Eartha Kitt in All Stars 5 was revolutionary. In fact, I'd say she inspired an entire generation of Drag Race fans with memes, like this one, where she described sensibly walking to the thermometer and adjusting the temperature to a sensible 74 degrees. But we got what we got, and Juju doing Cher really wasn't all that bad. It was just kind of, as Michele said, a parody of a parody. She was borrowing and referencing jokes from Chad Michaels' Cher performance in Snatch Game, and didn't do a whole lot to make it her own, but it was still fun. I enjoyed the start of what she did, playing with RuPaul about the lip thing, and the charcuterie joke, genius. But we really started to see her knees buckle as RuPaul intensified the questions, searching for more from this performance. Like when Ru asked Juju, "What other songs do you know?" And she kinda stumbled over the answer, just aimlessly naming songs with no jokes. Ultimately though, I was satisfied with what Juju gave, even if it didn't live up to her past performances. All things considered, I believe Juju's Cher was hot, but not quite strong enough. Next up, put it all on pink. It's Jacké. She's giving me a cocktail waitress in Vegas meets Jessica Rabbit meets my new gambling addiction. And I love this look because it's a whole damn show. The silhouette of her look is reminiscent of that showgirl style outfit that we saw from, for example, Mo tonight, which is a great reference, but I love that she really made it her own and pitched a tent in Campville here. There's lots of great details built into this look. There's tassels, colors, shapes. I love shapes. And there's fun hidden details, like an I Spy book with the poker chips in her hair. And I was so relieved when she turned around and revealed to us that the back of the poker table was also painted. Roulette wheel, girl, whatever it's called. Come on. I'm gay. I will say though, this look is not necessarily a royal flush. I think the bottom hem of the dress looked a little unfinished, strangely. And something a little more creative I think could have been done with the shoe to really complete and round out this look. Overall though, I'll call the bets. This look is hot. And over in the Snatch Game, Janey too gave us guru, beauty guru, James Charles. So if you're here on YouTube, and you are watching my videos, then you undoubtedly know who James Charles is. He has like 24 million subscribers, and fun fact, he was also the first boy on CoverGirl. And I'll talk about how she actually did as James here in a second, but I was confused at the judges telling her in the critique session that James was not a good character to pick because he, quote, wasn't funny. But contrary to what Michele is saying there, I actually think James was an excellent pick for Snatch Game. He's got tons of crazy mannerisms to make fun of, and even meme-worthy moments like his little flashback Mary situation thing, or even all those crazy outfits he wears. A great example of someone taking an online YouTuber personality and turning them into an excellent Snatch Game performance was actually Lemon from Canada's Drag Race, so it's a shame that we didn't get to see her reprise that role once more here. But back to JJ, she really didn't do much in this Snatch Game besides look like James. Like her first Hi Sisters didn't even have a lisp. Hi Sisters! James Charles parody dropping win. If this video gets 15,000 likes, I'll make one. But side note here, Janey is an excellent illusionist. First Meryl and now James? And now that I'm thinking about it, have we ever seen Meryl, James, and Janey in the same room? However, in addition to Janey not being funny as James, she also kind of started out at a disadvantage because RuPaul and Michele definitely don't know anything meme-worthy or jokey about him. Like, girl, if there are any queens out there trying to pick Snatch Game characters and you haven't watched the show enough to know that RuPaul is not gonna get your joke if it's from the past 20 years, I guess that's your fault. Know your audience. This performance was simply not palatable. It was a rat. Next up, I actually gave Mo and Baga inverse scores on their runways and challenge performance tonight, so they both ended up with 7 total hot flames, tying for 3rd place in my rankings. Let's talk about it. Let's first take a look at Mo. Mo money, Mo problems, Mo runways, Mo slayage. Firstly, it should be illegal to slay this hard on the runway. She is literally all over that stage and making the other queens smell it. And I would say I'm surprised, but coming from Mo, I'm not. She has great taste and an excellent eye for combining campy details with fun references that also serve elegant fashion and most importantly, polished drag. This is a Flamingo Vegas showgirl in the most beautiful pink and orange colors, which a look that lights up beautifully in this like rotating LED pattern. And of course, she didn't miss the opportunity to shade the other queens who have attempted to appear on Drag Race with lights in the past. This look is insanely gorgeous. It's perfect and just so much damn fun. Thank you, Mo. This look is hot. But concerning Mo's Snatch game, in the workroom, we find out Mo is considering Gordon Ramsay and BB Zahara Benet. And I actually would have liked to have seen her Gordon Ramsay, but Rue dissuades her from Gordon and it doesn't even acknowledge that she said BB's name. Remember, it's been a long while since the queens have been allowed to do other queens in Snatch game, because it kind of completely destroyed the point of even doing Snatch game that was supposed to be referencing like iconic pop culture figures and not be so reductive. Anyways, she ends up doing Billy Porter, Tony Award winner and fashion icon. And I think the choice for Monique was actually not a bad one. Interestingly, Out of Drag Mo kind of serves these very silly, ridiculous, campy looks, similar to what we see Billy walk red carpets in, so kind of made sense there. But besides seeing her serve a cute little purple look on the Family Feud table, I think we heard a grand total of 3 responses from her. She was completely edited out in favor of the queens that were completely dominating it, like Baga and Blue. So all I can really say here is what we saw was okay, I guess. But this performance was simply not enough to Billy teleporter me to Mars. It was a rot. Next up, unfortunately for her, the luck of the Irish didn't bring her much luck on the runway tonight. Performance-wise, yes, this is very fun. Baga is always fun on the runway, and other times that she has to perform in front of the judges, that's what she does best. There is simply not another queen in this franchise that will serve a look this bad, this well. And to her credit, she is at least very clearly on theme, with a concept that we don't have to guess about, which is why I did end up giving her 2 flames on this look, but she obviously could have pushed it a lot further over the rainbow. Even some simple finishing details like a 4-leaf clover stuck into that giant orange beehive, a sparkly necklace, coins she could actually take out of her little pot of gold and throw onto the runway, or even adding stoning to her fishnets would have taken this at least 1 step further. And on a regular season, this might be a soft hot, but as is, I wasn't lucky charmed. This looks a rat. But what she lacked in luck tonight, she made up in raw talent. She did Snatch Game as Kathy Bates in her Oscar award-winning role in Misery. And I just want to point something out. When Rupaul said what Baga did in Snatch Game was a masterclass in how to do Snatch Game, I don't even think that y'all fully got that. Let's take a little closer look at what happened there. The backstory about what's happening in this movie is that Kathy's character is a former nurse who is, we'll say, very quirky. And she happens to rescue her favorite novelist, Paul Sheldon, out of a car crash and takes him to her tiny little cabin in the woods where no one else is around. And without spoiling any plot points, I'll just say that things get ooky spooky and scary. But why does all that matter? Let me reiterate. Baga used an iconic cinematic character with an obsession about a novelist named Paul in the Snatch Game, where she is trying to impress Rupaul, who is a bit of a novelist, I guess you could say. Hence all the jokes about the Guru book that she is creating this story about reading and becoming obsessed with Paul, as she calls him in the Snatch Game. What Baga did here was genius. Like, I just don't think anyone has ever adapted a character's actual backstory into what was happening with names that actually made sense and lined up with what was going on in Drag Race. Very meta and very fun. And I don't need to tell you that Baga was delightfully creepy, and she found ways to both make this Snatch Game performance original and referential. Misery is alive, and this performance was hot. Next up, it's her lucky day. Well, I guess not really, since she did go home, but she does get a jackpot on the runway. Pangina has a very special ability in drag, in that she can serve a high fashion concept married to full-on glam camp ridiculosity. Like, just look at the details of this look. Pangina Heals written on the slot machine. She's got a fascinator that says winner on top of this beautiful gold sparkly finger wave hair, giving us a little nod to the roaring 20s perhaps, when wealth was abundant and her bodysuit is covered in coins. And then to complete the look, there's like a beautiful tux billowing behind her. It's wild. And of course, the performance of it too. She hits the end of the runway and all her coins fall out. It's art, it's fashion, it's drag, and Pangina, we're gonna miss you. This look is hot. And in the Snatch Game, Pangina takes a risk to do Mariah Carey, who has been portrayed on Drag Race both successfully, for example by Shangela in the All-Stars Rusical, and unsuccessfully a few times, most recently by Kiara on Canada's Drag Race. And while I think she did a pretty okay job portraying Mariah, I firstly have to comment on the illusion. Holy effing F-balls. Not only does she look just like her, but she looks gorgeous as her. I'm literally obsessed. And Pangina actually starts off the Snatch game so well. Ru asks her how the lambs, her fans, are, and she says they're great. How would you like them cooked? And she is nailing those over-exaggerated expressions and kind of airy diva attitude that Mariah has about her. But kind of like Juju's performance, Mariah lost a little bit of steam as the Snatch game went on, and I kind of have a theory that this Snatch game was longer than a normal Snatch game, which may have tested the limits of some of the queens who are very funny, but not necessarily very funny and great actors and extremely witty and can be on their toes like for so long. And that's not a read, I'm just saying what Blue and Baga did, for example, was extremely exceptional. Overall, while Pangina's performance as Mariah wasn't a total slay from A to Z, she still brought joy to my world. This performance was hot. Next up, Tutor. I hardly know her. It's Blue Hydrangea. Her Lady Luck look is breathtaking. There was a lot of camp and ridiculosity served by many of the queens tonight, but Blue approached this runway with a severity, a fierceness, a glamazon brain that completely elevated this concept to a higher place. And the funny thing was, actually, she and Baga did the exact same concept. It's just that Blue's is like what you see when you order it online, and Baga's is what arrives 7 weeks later. At a base level, she is doing that traditional take on a leprechaun with a little pot of gold, but when you zoom in to look at the details of this gown and those beautifully finished shoulder rouged pieces with those gold trims that look like a deck of cards, and see the braiding and styling in that giant beehive, you begin to realize that this leprechaun's pot of gold is 24 karat. And what Blue did here on the runway is everything you could possibly dream to find at the end of a rainbow. This look is hot. And in the Snatch game, I'm not even gonna pretend that I can do a good Austin Powers voice because I can't, but yeah, baby. Jail. Luckily though, I don't have to. Blue killed it. And if you're unfamiliar, you must be living under a rock, but Austin Powers is the character played by Meyers in the Austin Powers movies. And I've gotta say, finding the comedy in Austin Powers and bringing it to Drag Race was a true challenge because this character is already a parody of itself, and everything about this character is ridiculous and funny. So Blue not only had to know these movies inside and out, and be an excellent actor, but to think on her feet about how to apply everything that Austin Powers and later Dr. Evil would do in a Snatch game situation. I think my favorite line from the whole thing was when she was doing Dr. Evil and she said that she was holding Graham Norton above a molting pool of smegma. Shut it down. Blue brought it home. Blue went the extra mile tonight, and I think her performance was worth $1 billion for $1 million. This performance was hot. Which brings us to the tops and bottoms of tonight's episode. And I think no surprise to anyone, Blue and Baga are two queens with a trio of safe placements in the competition thus far land in the top. But y'all wanted a twist, eh? The twist is, everyone else is in the bottom. And based on the critiques we heard from the judges, I will say it was a little ambiguous as to who they thought was in the bottom two, though I'd say Janey was definitely the worst in the Snatch game, and my second bottom two would probably be Mo. But concerning Blue and Baga's lip sync, I did react to it and the runways in Snatch game over on my Patreon at patreon.com/BussyQueen. That's my members only website, where my Patreon family gets exclusive member benefits like early access to my YouTube videos, access to exclusive videos, and access to the Bussy Queen Discord server. And you can join by clicking the link in the description of this video. See you there. But yeah, it was an interesting lip sync for sure. Baga tried some new tricks. The cartwheel, not successful, but she tried it. And I think she was really demonstrating to the judges that she desperately wanted this win. Finally, she showed up. But Blue gives a more calm, collected, serious, and sometimes funny performance and takes the win. And honestly, I think Ru could have justified giving either of them the win, but I was happy to see Blue get a much deserved win. Because with a kind of equal lip sync in my eyes, it's clear that based on Blue's runway, she had a little more fire under her ass tonight. But the gag of the season, the third gag of the season, is that our sweet little innocent Blue pulled Pangina's lipstick. And the thing is, as I kind of mentioned at the beginning of this video, I saw Pangina's elimination coming from a mile away based on the edit that they were giving Baga's confessionals, but never in a million years did I actually think that Blue would be the one sending her home. But I also get it. She's been talking about how much this competition really means to her and has been, I think, desperately trying to show the judges that she is taking it so seriously and really wants the win. And in her heels right then and there, I can see how eliminating Pangina would be maybe the clearest path to the crown that she could possibly see. Pangina's made it very clear the past couple of episodes that she is playing cutthroat to win. Even if she says she's eliminating queens based on judges' critiques for the challenges, I would argue that past precedents in All-Star seasons wouldn't have necessarily led to the eliminations that she chose. Pangina played the game and played it well, but girl, she slipped up and turns out it played her. Simply put, I don't think Blue wanted to end up another casualty from Pangina's cutthroat gameplay, and I think what she did was very justified. She protected herself from elimination in the next challenge, potentially, and at the same time, made herself a front runner in the competition. She and Janey are now the only two queens of the remaining that have a full win. And we only have 2 episodes left, girl. But as much as I understand what Blue did, I am so gagged. I'm honestly heartbroken. I think I really surprised myself with how much I really found myself falling in love with Pangina. Through, what, 4 episodes? She is undeniably a queen that radiates charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent in every single thing she does. She's professional and not afraid to just make the fucking chops, dude. Pangina Heals, thank you for your service. And after her elimination aired, Pangina did share a message with everyone on her Twitter, so let's go ahead and check that out. Everyone, please do not direct any hate towards Blue Hydrangea. If you feel some kind of way, just tip me. This is a competition, and people go home. It is normal, and I feel like a winner getting 8 new friends, showcasing myself and my culture, and being on the best show in the world. She also wrote another funny follow-up tweet. Join the club, Blue Hydrangea. I can't enter Canada, and you can't enter Asia. And I know I brought this up a couple different times in the videos of the past few weeks, but it does seem like a lot of the queens have been getting some nasty attention on social media, so just a little PSA to everybody. There's no sense in ever sending hate to anyone or even tagging people on Twitter or anything like that. Just keep it to yourself, spread positivity when and where you can, and throw $1 at the queens who make you holler. But let me know what you're thinking about this season so far. What did you expect out of tonight's elimination? Do you think the top 2 were right? Do you think everyone should have been put into the bottom? And who would you have sent home? Let me know down in the comments below. And as for my hottest thoughts tonight, in the Snatch game, this is one of the toughest decisions I've made on my show in a while. I think Blue went the extra mile in what she did by giving 2 performances, but Baga demonstrated that she's a master at her craft. If I had to take one to my grave, I'm gonna give it to Baga. And on the runway, my hottest hot goes to Mo Hart. I also asked my patrons to vote on their hottest hots this week, and they've chosen Blue Hydrangea in the Snatch game and Mo Hart on the runway. And as always, I want to say thanks to you for watching today's video, and to today's video sponsor Manscaped for keeping this Bussy queen clean and squeaky. Don't forget, you can check them out using the link in the description of this video to save 20% off your order with free international shipping. And lastly, I want to say thanks so much to my generous patrons who make my channel possible. And I want to give an extra special shout out to Hamlock, Jim Gay Lee, Michael Presley, Charlie Foxtrot, CMC Family, Robbie G, and Ryan Crisp, who all just joined my Patreon at the hot tier, and Lele, who's just joined my Patreon at the hottest hot tier, and Aliao, Angel, Cyrus, Dark-Sided Otter, Tiki, Felicia, Hector Simancas, JB, Jeffrey, Joseph, Josh, JP in Dallas, Laura, Lisette, Mark James, Matthew Burns, Matthew Bauer, Maxie LaWow, Miss F, Neely, Ryan Beans, Scooby Snacks, Sailor, Steven, Tom Jaco, Tom Young, Topher, Triton, Wheelie, and Yeeji, who are all supporting me at my Bussy Queen Collector tier on patreon.com. See you later. Love ya. Bye.